There is always a moment before action. It is brief, often invisible, and almost never dramatic. In the wild, this moment decides everything. Before the chase, before the strike, before life changes for one creature and ends for another, there is a pause where nothing moves. Yet everything is calculated. Waiting is not weakness here, it is judgment. Deep inside the forest, the tiger stands still, not because it cannot move, but because moving now would cost more than waiting. The air is heavy with moisture. Light filters unevenly through layers of leaves and branches, breaking the tiger's outline into fragments. From a distance, the forest appears calm. But calm is misleading. It hides probability. The tiger reads the environment the way others read tracks. Wind direction matters. So does light. So does sound, or the absence of it. A deer grazes nearby, unaware of the presence it cannot see. To an observer, the distance between them seems unchanged. But distance in the wild is not measured in meters. It is measured in seconds and in risk. The tiger does not advance, not yet. Every movement burns energy. Every failed attempt compounds hunger. A large predator cannot afford repeated mistakes. Unlike smaller hunters, the tiger cannot chase endlessly. It must choose correctly or not at all. This is the first decision, to wait. The second decision comes quietly. The deer lifts its head, sensing something unfamiliar. Not danger, just inconsistency. A sound that does not belong. A shift in air pressure. The deer pauses, then moves closer to cover, staying within the safety of the forest's edges. The tiger observes the change. This is not opportunity. This is warning. To attack now would expose position. To chase would extend effort without certainty. So the tiger remains still, not frozen, prepared. Minutes pass. Muscles stay engaged without movement. The forest resumes its rhythm. Insects hum, leaves stir. The deer lowers its head again, comforted by the absence of consequence. This is the third decision, to commit. The moment arrives not with sound, but with alignment. Wind stabilizes, light dims. The deer drifts just far enough from cover. The tiger moves. There is no adjustment mid-stride, no hesitation. Speed is released only once and fully. This is not pursuit. It is execution of a decision made long before the body moves. The outcome is swift. When the forest settles again, nothing appears different. But the cost has been paid. Energy spent, risk, accepted, survival secured for now. Yet the tiger does not linger. Success does not eliminate danger. It merely postpones it. Beyond the hunt, another set of decisions governs the tiger's life. Territory must be defended, but not constantly. Conflict avoided whenever possible. Boundaries are marked not to invite confrontation, but to prevent it. Most rivals retreat without challenge. Those that do not force brief, brutal encounters that leave no room for doubt. Still, even dominance is conditional. Deeper within the forest, another tiger moves under different rules. A tigress pauses at the edge of her territory. She does not consider hunger first. She considers distance, sound, scent, time. Somewhere behind her, hidden from sight, fragile lives wait. Leaving them unattended increases risk. Staying too long guarantees hunger. This decision is not about strength. It is about balance. She chooses a smaller prey, one that requires less effort, less noise, less time. The hunt must end quickly or not begin at all. Again she waits. Again she calculates. And when she moves, it is not instinct that drives her, but a choice shaped by consequence. In the wild, survival is not defined by who acts fastest. It is defined by who chooses best in the moment before the move. Conflict is expensive. In the wild, it is rarely about courage or dominance. It is about arithmetic. Energy lost cannot be recovered easily. Injuries do not heal on schedule. And a single mistake can end a life long after the confrontation is over. This is why most battles never happen. Across vast stretches of forest territory is not defended through constant violence, but through decisions made in advance. Scent marks left along trails. claw marks carved into bark, subtle signals placed where others will find them. These are not challenges, they are warnings. A rival who detects these signs faces a choice: advance and risk injury, or retreat and live to hunt elsewhere. Most choose the second option. Avoidance is not submission, it is strategy. For a mature tiger, fighting another adult is never ideal. Even victory carries cost. Broken teeth reduce hunting efficiency. Torn muscles slow pursuit. Infection can turn survival into decline. So the first decision is always the same. Do not fight unless there is no alternative. This logic governs every encounter. When two tigers cross paths, movement slows. Posture stiffens. Distance becomes critical. Each reads the other not for aggression, but for commitment. Is this a test, a bluff, or a situation where retreat is no longer possible? Often the answer reveals itself quickly. One turns away. Not in fear, but in calculation. The one who leaves conserves energy, avoids injury, and survives to hunt again. The one who remains reinforces boundaries without spilling blood. Both benefit. This is the hidden economy of survival. But avoidance has limits. When resources shrink, when territory overlaps too tightly. When retreat means starvation, the calculation changes. The cost of leaving becomes greater than the cost of fighting. Only then does conflict occur. When it does, it is brief. There is no display, no prolonged struggle. The objective is not dominance, it is resolution. One individual yields injured or exhausted and withdraws. The winner does not pursue. Pursuit increases risk. Even in victory, restraint remains. Because the decision does not end with the fight. It continues afterward. Can this body still hunt? Can it still defend? Has the balance shifted? Every scar alters future choices. And this is why territory matters so deeply. By establishing clear boundaries, early predators reduce the number of decisions that must be made under pressure. They turn potential battles into avoided ones. Silence becomes communication. Absence becomes agreement. To an outside observer, the forest appears peaceful. Few clashes are witnessed. Few confrontations leave evidence. But this peace is not accidental. It is the result of countless decisions to stop rather than advance. In the wild, survival is rarely secured by winning battles. It is secured by knowing which ones never need to be fought. Hunger is simple. It demands food. It demands action. And it rarely waits. But some decisions in the wild have nothing to do with hunger at all. For a tigress with cubs hidden deep within the forest, the most dangerous threat is not starvation. It is exposure. Leaving the den creates risk. Staying too long creates another. Every choice exists between these two costs. The tigress does not hunt the way she once did. Strength is no longer the priority. Speed is no longer the goal. What matters now is time, how long she is gone, how much noise she creates, how many traces she leaves behind. The forest remembers. Scent lingers longer than expected. Broken branches mark paths. Even disturbed ground carries information. Other predators read these signs with ease. So the first decision is not what to hunt. It is how much risk to tolerate. Large prey offers more food but demands longer struggle. More noise. More time exposed. Injury becomes more likely. An injury now would mean death not for her alone, but for those waiting unseen. This calculation ends quickly. She chooses smaller prey, not because it is easier, but because it is safer. The hunt must be short, silent, controlled. A failure would be costly, but an extended success would be worse. Lingering attracts attention. Again, the tigress waits, not for opportunity, but for alignment. When she moves, it is with precision born from restraint. The strike ends quickly. The body is secured without excess effort. There is no roar, no pursuit, no waste of energy. The decision does not end here. Food must be eaten or moved. Both carry consequence. Feeding too long increases exposure. Carrying prey leaves scent trails. Each option presents a different kind of risk. She chooses speed over fullness, enough to survive, enough to return. Back at the den, the cubs remain silent. still, hidden where light struggles to reach. Their survival depends not on strength, but on choices made elsewhere. This is the second decision, to leave nothing behind. Paths are altered on return. Routes change. No pattern is allowed to form. The forest is denied memory. Yet danger does not vanish. One afternoon, the tigress detects unfamiliar scent near the den. Faint, but recent. Another predator has passed through the area. It did not stop. It did not linger. But it knows. Now the calculation shifts again. Stay and risk discovery. Move and expose the cubs during transit. There is no perfect answer. She chooses relocation. It costs energy. It increases risk, some risk in the short term, but it breaks continuity. It erases expectation. A den that is moved cannot be predicted. This decision is invisible to most observers. No chase, no confrontation, no evidence of drama. Yet it is one of the most important choices she will make. In the wild, motherhood is not defined by instinct alone. It is defined by risk management, by choosing not the strongest option, but the one that keeps the future intact. In some environments, speed is useless. Along the river's edge, movement betrays position. Noise travels farther than expected. Water magnifies mistakes. Here, acting too soon is often more dangerous than not acting at all. This is where patience becomes a weapon. The crocodile does not search for opportunity. It prepares for inevitability. Submerged beneath the surface, its body remains still, not passive but controlled. Muscles stay engaged without motion. Eyes break the waterline just enough to gather information without revealing intent. From above, it appears inactive. From within the river, it is calculating. The first decision is simple. Do nothing, not because prey is absent, but because conditions are not aligned. Shadows shift. Currents change. The angle is wrong. Acting now would require correction, and correction exposes weakness. So the crocodile waits. Hours pass. The river carries debris sound scent. None of it matters. Reacting to every stimulus would burn energy and reveal position. The crocodile ignores what does not serve the outcome. This is the second decision. Do not respond. Across the bank movement begins. A herd approaches the water driven by thirst rather than caution. Distance compresses. Noise increases. Confusion grows as bodies crowd the shoreline. From the surface, it looks chaotic. From below, it becomes predictable. The crocodile does not target movement. It targets alignment. One individual enters at the wrong angle. Another hesitates. The herd compresses from behind, forcing forward motion. These patterns repeat. They always do. Still, the crocodile waits. This is the third decision. Do not rush certainty. Only when distance, angle, and current converge does the calculation end. There is no adjustment left to make. No compensation required. Then and only then the crocodile moves. The action is brief, controlled, irreversible. There is no pursuit. No struggle drawn out for display. The river closes immediately, erasing evidence of the moment. For those still crossing, panic replaces coordination. They surge forward without looking back. Survival now depends on speed rather than structure. Below the surface, the crocodile withdraws. The decision does not end with success. Remaining near the surface would invite risk. Scavengers gather. Attention increases. Safety now lies in disappearance. So it sinks deeper, conserving energy once more. This is the final decision. End the action quickly. To an observer arriving moments later, nothing appears changed. The river resumes its rhythm. Vegetation drifts. Life continues. But the outcome was decided long before the strike. In this environment, waiting is not delay. It is preparation, and patience applied correctly becomes the most decisive action of all. Not every encounter is meant to be resolved. Some exist only to test boundaries, to measure risk, and to end without conclusion. In these moments, survival depends not on force, but on restraint. Near the riverbank, the cheetah slows. Its body is built for speed, not uncertainty. Long legs, light frame, explosive acceleration, all designed for open ground. Here near water, those advantages fade. Mud softens traction. Reflections distort depth. Escape routes narrow. The cheetah recognizes this immediately. This is the first decision. Do not commit. Ahead, the surface of the river appears calm. But calm near water is unreliable. Ripples hide movement. Stillness conceals readiness. Somewhere beneath a crocodile remains motionless, its presence defined by absence rather than action. The cheetah studies the ground. One step closer would improve position. One step closer would also reduce options. Speed means nothing if direction is compromised. This is the second decision. Do not advance further. The crocodile, sensing disturbance above, does not rise. It does not threaten. It does not reveal itself. Any reaction would clarify position, and clarity benefits the wrong side. So it remains submerged. Both predators pause. This moment is not tension in the dramatic sense. It is calculation. Each evaluates the cost of continuation versus withdrawal. Injury here would not be immediate death, but it would guarantee decline. For the cheetah, a damaged limb means starvation. For the crocodile, exposure beyond water means vulnerability. Neither can afford error. This is the third decision. And the encounter. The cheetah turns away, first not in retreat but in resolution. It chooses open ground, where speed becomes certainty again. The river loses relevance as distance restores advantage. The crocodile sinks deeper, returning to the environment where patience, not movement, defines power. No chase follows. No dominance is established. No victory is claimed, yet both survive. In the wild, walking away is not failure. It is optimization. By disengaging, each predator preserves future opportunity. Energy remains conserved. Injury is avoided. Survival continues without interruption. To an outside observer, this encounter appears uneventful. Nothing dramatic occurs. No footage would linger. No struggle would be remembered. But this is precisely the point. Most survival decisions leave no evidence. They succeed because nothing happens. And in a world where every mistake compounds, knowing when to stop can be the most important choice of all. Opportunity does not always demand action. In the forested mountains, the puma moves with a confidence shaped by experience. Its body is built for ambush, powerful hind legs, flexible spine claws designed to end encounters quickly. When it chooses to attack, outcomes are rarely uncertain. But certainty does not guarantee wisdom. As dusk settles, the puma observes from elevation. From here, the terrain opens into layered distances, clearings, tree lines, shadowed paths. Movement below becomes easier to track. Prey reveals itself not through noise, but through pattern. A young bear cub appears near the riverbank. It moves clumsily, separated from cover, unaware of how exposed it has become. To an inexperienced predator, this would be a clear opportunity. The size is manageable. The distance is closing. The element of surprise remains intact. The puma does not move. This is the first decision, not because the hunt would fail, but because success would invite consequence. A cub is never alone for long. Its presence rewrites the landscape. Sound carries differently. Attention sharpens. The mother will return, and when she does, the environment will turn hostile instantly. The puma calculates. Attack now and risk a confrontation that cannot be controlled. Withdraw and preserve the ability to hunt tomorrow. This is not hesitation, it is foresight. The second decision follows quickly. Do not test uncertainty. The puma shifts weight backward, easing away from the edge without sound. Distance increases, angles dissolve. The opportunity fades without announcement. Moments later, the forest confirms the choice. A deep roar cuts through the trees. The mother bear emerges alert and aggressive. The cub is gathered and moved into cover. What seemed isolated becomes protected. Had the puma committed, retreat would have been impossible, but restraint has already changed the outcome. This decision extends beyond the moment. The puma carries no injury, no wasted energy, No attention drawn toward its territory. The forest resets without memory of conflict. Later, another opportunity will arise, one with fewer variables, fewer unknowns, fewer consequences. This is the third decision. Wait for certainty, not temptation. In the wild, predators do not survive by taking every chance presented to them. They survive by selecting the chances that allow survival to continue. Killing is not the objective, continuity is. And sometimes the most decisive act is the one that leaves no trace, because it never happens at all. Some decisions cannot be made alone. On the open savanna, distance offers little protection. There is no cover to disappear into, no shadow deep enough to hide a mistake. Survival here depends not on speed or surprise, but on coordination. This is where elephants thrive. A herd moves slowly across the plains, not because it lacks urgency, but because urgency fractures order. Each step is deliberate, guided by memory rather than impulse. At the front walks the matriarch, not the strongest, but the most informed. Her role is not command. It is interpretation. She reads the land as a record of past outcomes. Where water once lasted, where danger emerged, where paths closed and reopened. The herd trusts these decisions because they have worked before. This is the first collective decision. Follow experience, not instinct. As the herd approaches, a river movement changes. Spacing tightens. Calves drift inward, surrounded by larger bodies. No signal is given yet. The formation adjusts as one. This is not reaction. It is preparation. Near the waterline, risk multiplies. Crocodiles wait where movement slows. Visibility drops. The margin for error narrows. One individual stepping too far can compromise the group. The matriarch pauses. This is the second decision. Do not rush access. Adults fan outward, slightly creating a living barrier. Calves remain shielded. When drinking begins, it happens in sequence, not chaos. Order limits exposure. Then the river breaks its surface. A crocodile lunges toward a calf, drawn by proximity rather than weakness. The moment compresses into noise and motion. Panic would shatter the formation. It does not happen. The response is immediate and unified. Multiple adults surge forward at once. Not randomly, but toward the threat. The crocodile is overwhelmed, forced to release and retreat before it can reposition. This is the third decision. Protect the group, not the individual. The calf survives because no single elephant reacts alone. Strength is multiplied through coordination. The river returns to stillness, and the herd regains structure without pause. But collective decision-making carries its own risks. Later, in tall grass, lions observe from a distance. They do not challenge the herd directly. They wait for separation, for disorder, for a moment, when synchronization fails. Eventually it happens. A calf lags behind, drawn by curiosity or fatigue. The herd does not notice immediately. When it does, distance has already increased. The lions act. This time the response is delayed by seconds, not because of weakness, but because information travels slower across space. By the time the herd turns, the outcome is already in motion. The loss is absorbed silently. There is no reversal, no pursuit. The herd reforms and continues forward. This is the final decision. Do not fragment further. On the savanna, stopping invites greater danger. Continuation preserves the majority. Memory will adjust. Routes will change, but movement must continue. Elephants do not survive because they are strong. They survive because they decide together. And in a landscape that punishes isolation, unity becomes the most reliable defense of all. Some risks are optional, others are not. On the savanna, height offers early warning. From above the grass, the giraffe sees danger sooner than most. Distance feels manageable. Time feels available. Until thirst intervenes. Water is not a preference, it is a deadline. As the giraffe approaches the river, its advantage begins to erode. The ground slopes gently. Visibility narrows. Sound reflects unpredictably off the surface. What was once a strength becomes a complication. The first decision arrives. Do nothing, and dehydration advances. Drink and exposure becomes immediate. There is no third option. The giraffe spreads its front legs and lowers its neck. Balance shifts. Vision collapses into a narrow cone. The posture is awkward, vulnerable, irreversible once begun. Time slows. Every second in this position compounds risk. Muscles remain tense, ready to react, but reaction now costs more. To flee requires reassembly legs, pulled back under the body head. Raised momentum rebuilt. This is the second decision. Accept vulnerability to gain survival. In the grass nearby, lions wait. They do not test the giraffe while it stands tall. They understand the geometry of danger. They wait for the moment when biology forces compromise. That moment is now. The lions advance with coordination rather than speed. They do not rush. Rushing creates noise. They close angles, reduce options, and wait for imbalance. The giraffe senses movement. This is the third decision. Abort and lose the water already gained. Commit and hope reaction time holds. The giraffe bolts. Power returns instantly as legs drive against the ground. A kick lands, forcing one attacker back. Dust erupts. Distance opens briefly. But momentum favors the group, not the individual. The struggle ends quickly. For the lions, hesitation would reverse advantage. For the giraffe, recovery would require time it does not have. When stillness returns, the savanna resumes its rhythm. Nearby other giraffes stand at distance. They do not intervene. They do not approach. Movement now would draw attention, not change outcome. This is the final decision. Preserve the group by not compounding risk. Later, far from the river, life begins again. A newborn giraffe enters the world, abruptly falling to the ground from standing height. The impact is not accident. It is activation. Instinct awakens through shock. Muscles engage. Survival begins immediately. Within hours, the calf stands. This is not resilience by chance. It is design shaped by necessity. On the savanna, delay is danger. Hesitation is loss. The calf will grow tall. It will see far. And one day, it will face the same decision at the water's edge. Because in the wild, some risks cannot be avoided. They can only be chosen. Darkness is not an absence. It is an environment with rules of its own. At night, distance collapses. Vision becomes unreliable. Sound gains authority. Every movement carries information, often to the wrong listener. Survival now depends on reducing signals rather than projecting power. This is where certain predators excel. In the forests of southern Europe, the lynx moves without declaration. Its body remains low steps, measured each placed where sound dissolves into soil and leaves. Large eyes gather what little light exists, while ears rotate independently, isolating detail from noise. The lynx does not hurry. Haste amplifies presence. Presence attracts consequence. Ahead, a rabbit feeds near low brush. To attack now would be easy. But ease is deceptive. Wind shifts. Shadows stretch unpredictably. A misjudged angle could turn success into injury. This is the first decision. Reduce movement before reducing distance. The lynx lowers further, compressing its profile, allowing the night to erase its outline. Only when certainty replaces probability does it strike fast, controlled final. The forest absorbs the outcome. No chase follows. No signal remains. The lynx leaves immediately. This is the second decision. Do not remain where success occurred. Elsewhere, under a different sky, the same logic unfolds. On the African savanna, darkness behaves differently. Heat lingers. Shadows stretch long and thin across open ground. Cover is sparse, but silence is abundant. Here the caracal moves. Sleek and efficient, it crosses terrain with minimal disturbance. Long ear tufts stand upright, not for display, but for detection. Sound travels far at night, and every advantage must be extracted before movement. A group of ground birds feeds nearby. They remain loosely spaced, unaware that spacing itself creates vulnerability. The caracal waits. This is the first decision. Do not disrupt the group. It watches for separation, a single bird drifting just far enough to isolate itself. The moment arrives without warning. The caracal launches upward, intercepting its target mid-motion. The action lasts seconds. The night closes again. This is the second decision. End the encounter immediately. Success does not justify exposure. Remaining invites retaliation. The caracal retreats into shadow, restoring invisibility. Later, when offspring arrive, the same logic applies. The female hunts within a narrow radius. Distance increases risk. Each absence must be brief. Each return must leave no trace. Kittens remain hidden silent, protected by restraint rather than force. This is the final decision. Survive by limiting visibility. In darkness, dominance is irrelevant. Only control matters. And control belongs to those who understand that the safest movement is often the one that never announces itself at all. In the wild, nothing happens by accident. Every movement is preceded by evaluation. Every action carries consequence. Every moment of survival is shaped by a decision made seconds, sometimes minutes earlier. What we call instinct is often misunderstood. It is not impulse. It is experience compressed into reaction. The tiger waits because moving too early wastes certainty. The crocodile remains still because patience sharpens outcome. The cheetah turns away because speed means nothing without escape. The puma withdraws because victory today can destroy tomorrow. Elephants survive because no decision belongs to one mind alone. Giraffes drink because biology leaves no alternative. Night hunters endure because invisibility limits risk. None of these choices are heroic. None are dramatic. They are simply correct within the narrow margin that allows life to continue. In nature, there is no concept of winning. There is only continuation. Every predator that survives today does so because it avoided at least one mistake yesterday. Every prey animal that escapes does so because it recognized danger before certainty arrived. This is the unseen structure beneath the wild. Not chaos, not brutality, but logic applied under pressure. From a distance, these stories may appear violent. But violence is not the lesson. Decision is. The wild does not reward strength alone. It rewards restraint, timing, and the ability to walk away when action would cost too much. As observers, we witness only fragments, the moment of attack, the moment of loss. What remains hidden are the thousands of decisions that prevented these moments from happening at all. Those stories leave no footage, no evidence, no sound. Yet they are the reason life persists. Survival is not instinct. It is choice made repeatedly correctly, and often in silence. And in that silence, the wild continues unchanged by attention, unmoved by judgment, governed only by consequence.